What's good? It's your boy Fanon. Coming back today with another opinion on boxing. And today is a sad day for me being a Manny Pacquiao fan. Kind of a good day and a bad day. Manny Pacquiao should have been wrapped it up, but he confirms today in a report that came out by the BBC Sports that this fight with Lucas Matthysse will be his last. And man, I can't think of a better way to try to go out trying to get a secondary belt, WBA belt, and, as a quote unquote champion, but not put him out there in such a way where he's going to get the brakes beaten off of him, but at the same time, allow my man to go out like a champion. And I think I think Manny Pacquiao deserves that. It's been an absolutely great, I think it's been 17 years this man's been fighting in the United States, man. And it's been an absolute pleasure to watch, man. He's definitely had his ups and downs, times when I was really rooting for him, other times where, some things were going on that might have pulled me away from him a little bit. But like many, many great athletes, I think it's really important to appreciate them, as they walk away from the sport. Now, I'm going to give you the details on that and let you know what I think this means for the welterweight division, top rank, and other related subjects. But first, we're definitely going to do a live stream later today. I really hope that you would attend the live stream. And the best way to do so is to hit the subscribe and the bell icon. And that way you can be notified when they're occurring. The purpose of this channel is really trying to have, on a daily basis, very good, mature conversations with boxing fans. And we have a lot of very knowledgeable subscribers and commenters that are in the comment section. And I really think that you would enjoy it. So I hope you accept my invitation to attend. Now, here's the article came out as Manny Pacquiao versus Lucas Matthysse. Filipino's career not over before final fight. Former world champion Manny Pacquiao says his fight with Lucas Matthysse will be his last, but wants to prove his career is not over yet. Pacquiao, 39, faces the 35-year-old WBA world welterweight title holder in Kuala Lumpur on Sunday, July 15th. And the Filipino fighter is already thinking about his boxing legacy. I want them to remember me after my career, not only as a champion, but as being an inspiration to everyone, being a good person, he told BBC Sports. This is my last fight. It's one to prove that I'm still there in boxing and that my career is not over yet. Argentina's Matthysse took up the vacant WBA title in January and says Pacquiao has not been the same fighter since he was knocked out by Juan Manuel Marquez in 2012. Sure, Manny has won so many titles. I only won one title, he said. I'm not going to give it up. I will die for it if I have to. I will defend this title to the death. Pacquiao has 59 victories and 39 knockouts in his career, winning world titles at 8 weights from flyweight to super middleweight, but has not fought since he lost his WBO welterweight title to Australia's Jeff Horn last July. I keep on fighting because boxing is my passion, and I love raising the flag of the Philippines, he said. He did, however, rule out the idea of switching to MMA or mixed martial arts once his boxing career is over. I am also a shareholder of one company in the MMA, so both sides I have interests in, added Pacquiao, but I will not enter into it or fight in MMA. So, man, I got to tell you, this is a dangerous, dangerous situation for Manny Pacquiao going into a fight saying that. Now, as we remember, the last guy of the 2000 to 2000 and I guess around 15 superstars or major stars in boxing. One guy that retired last year was Miguel Cotto when he fought, he fought Saddam Ali in what was going to be his last fight. And when you go into your last fight with your eyes on retirement in boxing, you might get retired in that ring. by way of knockout, right? Or bloody beatdown. So I certainly hope that's not the case. Lucas Matthysse is not like Lucas Matthysse is somebody that I think is, at this stage in his career. I mean, he's never been a particularly fast fighter. He's always been a strong fighter and a big puncher, but he's just not somebody that I think that is very fast. I think even at this advanced age and of Manny Pacquiao's, that Manny Pacquiao was fast enough and is strong enough um to cause Lucas Matthysse problems, especially if he boxes. If he just boxes and stays away, hits him a couple times, moves out, doesn't put himself too much at risk against Lucas Matthysse. I don't think Lucas Matthysse has the ability to knock him out. But once again, man, it's always a dangerous thing. Boxers usually don't retire pretty. It doesn't wind up being one of these situations like with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar where you get to take a 16 what a 13 14 city tour right through the or 26 city tour through the NBA and and have people lay out the red carpets for you and big old man rocking chairs and all kind of celebrations. You got a guy that sees an old man like, man, you're not gonna sees an old man out in front of him and thinking, I'm gonna end your career with you unconscious. You know what I mean? So, it's a dangerous proposition to say that before, but I certainly hope the best for him. And just thinking back, man, on all the things, I mean, what this means, I think I said in the beginning of this video, look, I know that there's a lot of people that do not like Manny Pacquiao because of the way, I mean, it's hard to like a Bob Arum fighter, number one. And I know that there's a lot of people, even though I do like Terrence Crawford, and there are a lot of people that had, suspicions about what he was on, whether he was on performance enhancing drugs or not. One of the big things for me is with the fights with Marco Antonio Barrera, whether he won those fights, right? Before he wound up eventually losing, right, and getting knocked out. But the other fights that he had with Juan Manuel Marquez before, where a lot of people thought that that Juan Manuel Marquez had won the fights. I mean, but if you just look at all the fights, all the good nights of boxing this guy has given us, one way or the other, since the year 2001 when he fought Ledwaba, right? It's Ledwaba, Agapito Sanchez, Marco Antonio Barrera, the first fight with Juan Manuel Marquez, Eric Morales twice, Eric Morales 3 times, Oscar Larios. The David Diaz fight was exciting. Oscar De La Hoya, Ricky Hatton, Miguel Cotto, Joshua Claudy, Antonio Margarito. That was a bloody battle. Shane Mosley. Ultimately, Tim Bradley. There's a sister that was kind of, a sister kisser with Tim Bradley where he lost. But, Brandon Rios was, later on the fight started. But, obviously, the couple Tim Bradley fights, or the 3 Tim Bradley fights, Floyd Mayweather Jr. obviously being one of the biggest, the big top off to the career. Then Jeff Horn, and then the last fight that he had with Jeff Horn was a really good fight that gave us a lot of exciting moments and a controversial end. So he's a guy that nobody's gonna 10 years from now. There's nobody in boxing that's gonna forget Manny Pac-Man Pacquiao. Emmanuel Manny Pac-Man Pacquiao. That's just a hell of a career, man. And just like, there's a bunch of people in NBA. NBA is probably the best way that I can, demonstrate my thoughts on Manny Pacquiao. Is like, I could not stand John Stockton. Because I couldn't stand how John Stockton made the dream team and Isaiah Thomas didn't. It still gets underneath my skin that people consider John Stockton to be the top 1 or 2 point guards, and while there was Isaiah Thomas in the league at the same time, and Isaiah Thomas had an NCAA championship and back-to-back NBA championships, right, and was the best guy and didn't even have, I don't think, necessarily as good as a supporting cast at times as John Stockton did. But John Stockton because he has, because of the assist total, gets held, and I think in higher regard than Isaiah Thomas, which is completely undeserved. And so it irritated me about him in his career. But after Karl Malone left, when Karl Malone left, I watched John Stockton play, and it was like the first season that we had that I did fantasy basketball. And I pulled out, and that's, fantasy basketball is where you got to really pay close attention to the stats. So what I did was I got John Stockton because people didn't, Karl Malone had left, and John Stockton, I think it was his last season. And I just realized watching these stats that this guy can get 20 points and 10 assists anytime he wants. He can pretty much score whenever he wants. He can do whatever he wants. As an older player, in his final season, this cat could do pretty much whatever he wanted out on the basketball court. Same thing for Larry Bird. And then once he retired, I was like, God, dog, I really kind of miss hating on John Stockton. I miss hating on John Stockton and Karl Malone. Those were some good days, because I was a Bulls fan, and they played them in the finals, and it was like, wow, man. Even though I rooted very hard against them during the time that they were playing, once it was all said and done, I could look back and think about them and fondly and remember the battles that they had with Houston, battles that they had with the Seattle Supersonics, right? And I think that people even today will start, see the same thing as the players that are in the NBA now. God dang, excuse me, players that are in the NBA now. As they grow older, they mature and they leave. Like LeBron James, by a lot of people who are not appreciated, who don't appreciate LeBron James, are going to wind up appreciating LeBron James a lot 3-4 years after he retires. Many people that didn't appreciate Dominique Wilkins, man, I'm telling you that after he left, now you talk to cats that really didn't like Dominique Wilkins that much when he played, and all they'll talk about is, man, I'm telling you, him and Jordan used to go at it, because that's one of the, the underrated battles that used to take place in the Eastern Conference in basketball. So in Manny Pacquiao, I see it being the same thing. Floyd Mayweather Jr. still, is not at that point where people have really accepted that he's retired, because he's still flirting around with the limelight. But I think even the most, I would hope that even the most avid Floyd Mayweather haters out there would eventually come to appreciate that there's no way that guy accomplished what he accomplished without being a great boxer. Even though, and I'll say the same thing about him, even though I don't think that he's greater than Ali, even being able to have a reasonable argument about whether he's greater than Ali or not speaks volumes about what Floyd Mayweather Jr. accomplished in his career and the type of fighter that he is. And the same thing I would give to Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao, the fact that Manny Pacquiao was able to move up in weight as far as he did, and I know that there are question marks about how he was able to do it, and at the point at which he stopped getting knockouts. But the fact of the matter is, the dude had tremendous amount of talent, and he fought the tough fights. There's never been a fight. I mean, this guy is, even if you say that he used to be on PEDs, I don't think that you would have thought that anybody would make the argument that he was on PEDs when he's almost 40 years old fighting damn near a middleweight in Australia in Jeff Horn. Jeff Horn's not an easy out, and he put on a great show at almost 40 years old. At almost 40 years old, even Floyd Mayweather Jr., he put on a very, very solid show. I think he lost to Floyd Mayweather, and I definitely think the people that are still making this argument about him having won that fight are wrong. But still, he put on a very good, respectable performance against Floyd Mayweather. He put everything he had into it. He took the fight to Floyd Mayweather. It just so happened that Floyd Mayweather Jr. is a better fighter than him, and Floyd Mayweather Jr. won on that day. But still, just the fact that he could get himself into that situation, and the fact that he could compete as well as he could compete against a bunch of Hall of Famers. I mean, if you go down the list of guys, whether or not you think that he won it or whatever, goes with that whole PED conversation. Just look at the Hall of Famers that this guy should have on his record. Guys with legitimate shots at the Hall of Fame. Marco Antonio Barrera, Eric Morales, Juan Manuel Marquez, Oscar De La Hoya, maybe Ricky Hatton, probably not Ricky Hatton, Miguel Cotto, Shane Mosley, Floyd Mayweather Jr. All those guys are, I believe, first ballot Hall of Famers that he got into the ring with. And hey, man, that's a lot. That says a lot. That says a lot. That says that this cat has given a lot to the sport of boxing. So, I'm glad to see now, as far as what this means for Top Rank, and what it means for boxing moving forward. The last of the superstars have retired. After this fight, there are no boxing superstars. Somebody is going to have to fight their way to the top of the pile. And the good thing about boxing is that there's always somebody that does it. Is it going to be Deontay Wilder? Is it going to be Anthony Joshua? Would it be Errol Spence? Would it be Terrence Crawford? Can it be Canelo Alvarez? Right? Who's going to be the person that's going to fight the best competition? Really get the imagination of boxing fans worldwide behind them, and in the United States. It can't just be outside the United States. You have to bring in the United States of America, because all of the quote unquote superstars in boxing have fought or fight significantly in the United States of America. And that's just how it is. Whether it's whether it was Jack Dempsey, Joe Louis, Muhammad Ali, Sugar Ray Leonard, Oscar De La Hoya, Floyd Mayweather Jr., Manny Pacquiao, Lennox Lewis, Evander Holyfield, Mike Tyson. Any and all of these guys have fought and gained a significant following in the United States, because that's where you're going to make the big money. That's where you're going to get the biggest stage in boxing is. And saying it ain't so doesn't make it not so. Saying it ain't doesn't make it not. It is what it is. So whoever's going to replace Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Manny Pacquiao are going to have to do it fighting in the United States of America. They're going to more than likely have to do it in Vegas. Outside chance they can do it in New York. And I'm looking forward to seeing who exactly this person is going to be, because as of right now, it's nobody. We have massive fights coming up that could be coming up with Errol Spence Jr., because we got three major we really have two weight classes where it can come from. Typically, it would be atypical for it to occur in the middleweight division. It would be unheard of for it to occur in the lightweight division. I know that there's an argument for a Julio Cesar Chavez Sr., but I think Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. is more of a regional star, very, very popular in Mexico, very popular in the western half of the United States. But I think it's fair to say that he's not a global guy like a Mike Tyson or a Muhammad Ali or even Oscar De La Hoya. Those guys really did have fan bases all over the world. And definitely Floyd Mayweather Jr. So it'll be interesting to see who's going to replace Manny Pacquiao, who's going to replace Floyd Mayweather Jr., because that was the mega fight. That was the mega fight. And honestly, it's a mega fight that did wind up happening. I don't like the fact that it happened so late and it got milked so far. Right? So, because it could have happened several years before and they could have done it 2 or 3 times. But at the end of the day, at least we got it. But, I guess you could say, better late than never. But I would say, hey, man, better on time than late. Better when it's peaked than late. And so we got to see some of these, like Roy Jones Jr. versus Bernard Hopkins. We got to see when it was supposed to happen. Hopefully we can see Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder when it's supposed to happen. Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. when it's supposed to happen. You know, something like that. Maybe shoot, and maybe you can get an anomaly with a Mikey Garcia and Gervonta Davis, or excuse me, a Lomachenko and Gervonta Davis, or a Lomachenko and Mikey Garcia in the lightweight division. But you know, it is what it is, and we'll see, man. But I'm really, really happy to see that Manny Pacquiao is retiring, and I'm very, very grateful for the career that he gave us in the very fun evening, intense nights that I got from him. And every pay-per-view dollar I spent for him was worth the money. And with that, I'm out. Peace.